What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Laying the Points with Farley Bets. This is the Week 4 recap show, and this starts a new week of scheduling. Every Monday, we'll do the recap and the Monday Night Football preview. On Wednesday, we'll do the Thursday Night Football preview, and also it'll be our contest show. We'll talk about Survivor. We'll talk about ATS contests and strategies. I'm pretty good at that. On Friday, we'll get into the full week of analysis and leans for every game. Going to try to have more guests on my show. And now we're a part of the Believe Network. So very excited to be a part of that. Again, welcome back to Laying the Points with me, Farley Bets. My name is Chris R. Farley, professional bettor, two-time circuit contest winner. And what a crazy week 4 it was, especially for us. We went 3-7-1. Not what the doctor ordered. A lot of absurdity. We'll get that. Well, we'll get to it in a second. Please follow me at Farley Bets on X, and you can get all my plays at farleybets.substack.com. We've won 115 units over the past 4 seasons, but week 4 was crazy. And when we go over these results, you just kind of get a feel for like, it's hard to even feel mad or sad or upset, or it's definitely not a week to question yourself as a handicapper or bettor, because the variance and the like the heinous spontaneity and volatility of these games was just through the roof. Let's go over the bets that we had. Browns plus 8.5. I took that on Monday. I didn't think that line would go up. Obviously it did. Obviously the lines ended up being the right side, so to speak, but the Lions were kept to 277 total yards at home. If I told you that the Browns defense, which is very legitimate, still is, would keep the Lions to 277 yards at home, I would imagine you would expect them to cover. But more mistakes, more turnovers, punt return for a touchdown. That's all she wrote. Browns do not cover. We'll get more into that game in a second. Bucks plus 3. It went to plus 3.5. Did not think that would happen. Eagles ended up being the right side, even though the Eagles fail to record a pass completion in the second half. Baker has the ball in the final drive of the game, throws an interception right into the hands of an Eagles defender, ends that drive. The Bucks probably would have covered if they convert anything on that drive. Didn't happen. Interception at the end, too many mistakes, a punt block for a touchdown right at the start of that game, and that's all she wrote. Teaser, Packers and Broncos down to just winning the games. Well, the Broncos play tonight, but that teaser is done, because if you watched Sunday Night Football, that was the single worst example of time management that I've ever seen from an NFL head coach. The Packers are in overtime. Their defense does what it needs to do. It prevents the Cowboys from scoring a touchdown. The Cowboys just get a field goal. They have 5 minutes left to go down the field and score a touchdown. Their offense is looking good, but they're purposely bleeding clock as if they need to keep the ball away from Dallas. Guys, if they score a touchdown, the ball never goes back to Dallas. The game is over. What is LaFleur doing? 2 minutes are left. They have the ball on Dallas's 40-yard line. Not enough time to like have a proper offense. I think they had just one timeout left at that point. Sure enough, not shockingly, Jordan Love and the offense, they're rushing through the plays. They're running out of time. That final play on third down took about 25 seconds to get going. Just awful. I don't know what Matt LaFleur was thinking, but the Packers had the game won. Just go down the field. Don't waste clock. Give yourself plenty of time. Score a touchdown, because you just put up 37 on Dallas on the road. It was working all game. Terrible, terrible. That teaser loses. Steelers and Falcons up to plus 8.5. That teaser won. Panthers plus 5.5. This is a bet that I didn't feel good about heading into Sunday. Like, I knew I had it. I in my head, I'm like, who are the Patriots to be 5.5 point favorites? But when the Patriots defensive coordinator was announced to have cancer, you got to figure the Patriots at home, they're going to rally. It's still the Panthers. 2 defensive touchdowns and a punt return touchdown later, and you see the result. 42-13, I think was the final. Panthers looked good at the beginning of this game, but again, too many mistakes. They outgained the Patriots, by the way, but too many mistakes. Panthers don't cover. Had a parlay for the 49ers and Dolphins to win. I still think the Dolphins win tonight, but the 49ers did not win. Brock Purdy did not look like himself. 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and the game-losing fumble. I mean, 99 times out of 100, if you give me the current era 49ers at home against the Jaguars, who have been 3-12 against the spread in Pacific Standard Times, who have a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence that always makes bonehead mistakes. By the way, he still did. He still did make boneheaded mistakes at the end of that game. Didn't matter. The 49ers defense eventually, capitulated a little too much. Apparently, Robert Saleh thinks they're stealing plays over there. I don't know about that. But when Brock Purdy is turning over the ball, what are you going to do, right? I think it's 4 total turnovers for the Jacksonville defense. Again, just at home at San Francisco. Couldn't believe it. I got the Bears win. Blocked field goal at the end. A little bit of positive variance for me there. Tennessee and Houston under 38.5. That was an easy win. Jacksonville and San Francisco under 47. The game ends on 47. Titans +7. That game was 6-0 heading into the fourth quarter. Titans 175 total yards. Bad. 20 points by the Texans in the fourth quarter. What? More mistakes, more turnovers. Again, when you handicap, eventually you can start to consider turnovers as part of your handicap, right? Because you start to see this team is prone to turning over the ball eventually. But at first, you can't anticipate turnovers. You can't anticipate that, oh, this team is going to turn it over 3 times just because they're in this spot. Even if they're a poor team, that kind of variance is not predictable necessarily, right? Through a whole season, later in the season, you could say this team is clumsier, sloppier than a different team. But early in the season, to include that in your handicap, it's iffy, right? It's a lot of good and bad luck. In this case, we had almost all bad luck in week 4, and the Titans did it again. The Titans keep the game close, blow it at the end, too many mistakes. And then Baltimore and Kansas City under 48.5. Kansas City's defense did its job. The Baltimore defense, which I expected to step up after their week 3 showing, which was awful, did even worse. Chiefs score 37 at home on the Ravens. Not a good look. No improvement. I know they have some injuries, but I have more to say about the Baltimore Ravens. But as you can see, all those games that we lost, so frustrating, easy, 1 or 2 plays are different and it's a different result. We have a winning week or an even week or just a not so bad of a week. Minus 10 units because of all that absurdity. Needless to say, we've been here before. Quarter 2 and quarter 3 is when we do our best work. That's when we have the most profit. 75% of our profit actually comes from quarter 2 and quarter 3 historically, which we are about to get to in week 5, and I can't wait. And needless to say, we are done with week 4. Well, actually, I'm not. I'm about to give my thesis statements on every single game, but I'm happy that this week is almost over. All right, let's give these thesis statements, get to every game really quick here. What did we learn from these games? I like to say thesis statements because that's what a thesis statement is, right? It's what is the most important thing that we can take away from what we saw? And some of these games and some of these teams, you don't really take that much away, right? Maybe you're not that surprised from it, but a lot of flip-flopping on the form of these teams this week, and some things we can surely take from it. Let's start with Thursday Night Football in week 4, Seattle and Arizona. The thing I can take from Arizona is that this is still going to be a very average team because they have no leadership. And that was just reemphasized again in that loss. They ended up getting back into the game, but it wasn't anything that impressive. Seattle, on the other hand, Sam Darnold is playing better football than I thought he would. That's my thesis statement there. And as long as Sam Darnold is playing decent football, he's one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL so far. As long as he's playing decently, Seattle has a good enough defense to hang around in a lot of games, and they're definitely going to beat up on teams like the Cardinals. Now, do I think the Seahawks are going to beat, the Lions, the Packers, The Eagles, no, I don't. But against mid-tier, lower-tier teams, I think there's a lot of value on a team like Seattle, and Mike McDonald has that defense playing hard. Minnesota at Pittsburgh. Thesis statement here for the Vikings. It's fool's gold to think that Wentz is going to play well every week, and especially is going to play well in tough situations. I thought Wentz was an upgrade from J.J. McCarthy. He might still be. But in Dublin, in the muck against the Steelers, that is a Steelers scenario, right? And that's my point about the Steelers. And again, my thesis about them, which might be the same every week. The Steelers are an amazingly entertaining team who win in those situations, right? Like Aaron Rodgers is like smirking. He's confident. He's like, hey, oh, he's joking around with the refs. Everything's beautiful. The next week, Aaron Rodgers might be yelling and, getting up off the turf because his offensive line is killing him. And I mean, this team is going to be up and down all year. But these messy situations that are kind of out of the ordinary, where they're being underrated by the market, that's when you take the Steelers, and they proved it again. The Steelers are 3-1, right? I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's hard to believe, isn't it? Let's just. I got to verify that. How are the Steelers are 3-1? I mean, that should tell you everything. The Steelers are a good team. They're not a great team, and they're 3-1. I know also what you're thinking, right? Mike Tomlin's going to do it again, isn't he? He probably is. He's probably going to win more than he loses again. It's just what the Steelers do. Saints at Buffalo. I said it on Twitter about the Saints, and I'll say it again. Every single week, the Saints are like, this is obviously a bottom 3 team for me, but at the same time, they play better than what I expect. Every single week, they impress me a little bit. Spencer Rattler playing well, defense playing well. They're hanging in games. Eventually, Buffalo did what we expected them to do. Like, didn't learn much about Buffalo. But the Saints, I think they're going to win a few games. Like they're going to, when they start facing lesser teams next week at home against the Giants, I think they're going to win a few games. So, the Saints are not a complete dumpster fire, and that's a surprise actually for me. I thought they would be. Tennessee at Houston. Again, this was 6-0 for literally the whole game. My thesis statement on the Titans is this is a really bad team right now, and we have to start to question Cam Ward and what they've put together offensively. They fight hard until they don't, until they inevitably make mistakes. Like, this is the team now. And I've bet on the Titans quite a few times now, sheepishly, foolishly, I guess. But now we know enough. Like, this is not a team to bet on, and this is a team that's going to continue to make mistakes. I didn't learn much about the Texans. I wasn't that impressed. They got some benefit, like they benefited from the Titans' mistakes in the fourth quarter, and that's why they put up 20. But 175 yards by the Titans, you can't do that when you're 0-3. I don't care who you're facing. It's not a good football team. The Browns at the Lions. For the Browns, they should make a quarterback change. Like, Flacco has done it a long time. He deserves his flowers for that and for being a formidable quarterback on every team that he's been with since the Ravens. But if he can't move in the pocket, and he makes a lot of mistakes in these situations, especially on the road. Like, just try out Dylan Gabriel. Try out Shedeur Sanders. Who cares? Try something else, because this isn't going to work. And this is a really, really good defense. Didn't learn as much from the Lions, except for the fact that when a good defense plays them, they can be limited. And if the Browns don't make as many mistakes, that's a close game. So I still think we were more right than wrong about that one. But, ultimately, Detroit at home, things tend to go their way. Washington at Atlanta. What do we learn about Washington? Well, the Commanders are very average without Jaden Daniels, which is actually impressive, because before Jaden Daniels, the Commanders were terrible. Like, they were not a good football team. But even without Jaden Daniels, they're an average team. And they hung around in this one. Like, they had no business hanging around in this game, which Atlanta's defense, suspect, shady. But the Commanders still got outgained by 141 yards. They hang around. They do enough. They score enough. Atlanta wins by 7. Atlanta probably should have won by 20. But Atlanta letting teams hang around a little too much. I don't like what I've seen from Atlanta in general. I mean, their offense looked good, but they should look good after a disappointing loss in week 3 at home against the Commanders, team that's, just weaker, right? They can't put up as many points. The Commanders were in a more vulnerable spot. Atlanta should take care of business, but they didn't really take care of business the way they should have. Philly at Tampa Bay. You cannot make mistakes. You cannot make immediate mistakes against the Tampa Bay. I almost said the Tampa Bay Eagles, against the Philadelphia Eagles, and expect to win games. A blocked punt for a touchdown on your first drive. What, are you kidding me? Missed field goals, drives that just, sputter and end out of nowhere. Like you cannot start slow against the Eagles. They're going to win those games. The Eagles, again, had no completions in the second half. Barely generated any offense. The Bucs outgained the Eagles again by over 100 yards. The Eagles are outgained on a weekly basis. Doesn't matter because they can do enough. And Baker Mayfield, for as good as he's played, you cannot throw that interception at the end of that game. Throw the fucking ball away, Baker. Like he again made some magnificent plays. Even scrambling. Like this guy, like he's not that athletic, but he scrambles like he is, and it works out. But dude, you can't throw that ball. Tampa Bay is still a good team, but you felt the presence of Mike Evans not there a little bit in this one. Again, it was really just about the team that didn't make as many mistakes, and that's the Eagles. Carolina at New England. Feel good for New England, but I wouldn't go crazy and say that the New England Patriots are like a really good team or even an above average team. They're still an average team at best. This was the Carolina Panthers that they faced, right? Let's remember that. They were motivated. They're at home. One of their coaches just got a unfortunate news about cancer. It was a game for the Patriots to win. I figured we were going to lose that bet. I actually took New England last minute in Survivor in some contests, so that worked out well. Carolina Panthers are the anti-Philadelphia Eagles in the sense that if the Panthers make any mistakes, they're going to lose, and they're probably going to lose by margin. The LA Chargers are my New York Giants. I get to talk about the Giants in a positive way. Let's go. For once in my life, for once in the last 10 years, I get to talk about the Giants in a positive way. I'll tell you that. I'll say this, okay? The Giants defense showed up, 2 sacks and 12 quarterback hits. They were all over the place. Like they were all over the field on defense. They made some key stops. I was impressed by that. I didn't take much from the Chargers in this game because it's a really weird spot, right? Across the country, 10 a.m. start time for you in your head. Unfamiliar team, no playbook on Jackson Dart. It's okay. Like the Chargers are fine. At the same time, as far as Jackson Dart goes, you're going to hear a lot of positive stuff about Jackson Dart. I agree with a lot of it. I think he had good pocket presence. I think he's a better leader. He's definitely athletic out there. Like he can move better. And he made some good decisions when he threw the ball. But you can tell when he got in the pocket and he had to pass, like for like a long third down, the game was moving very fast for him. So he chose to tuck it and to run. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it didn't. He's going to get hurt if he keeps doing that too much. And we have to see Jackson Dart throw the ball downfield, settle in. And I'm not sure that he's there yet. It certainly didn't look like it. He was kind of panicking a little bit. So downfield, like passing game, especially without Malik Neighbors, I think the Giants are at kind of a disadvantage as far as their like prolific passing game goes. Like this isn't a passing offense that's going to go over 250 yards very often. Jacksonville at San Francisco. Again, Purdy didn't look right. That's what I take from this. Like you would want to take the 49ers on Thursday Night Football after that loss. You would want to take them because San Francisco has played well against the Rams historically. And we expect positive regression from the 49ers. But because of how off Brock Purdy looked, I'm not sure if I can take the Niners on Thursday. Like I have to sit back and see what that looks like moving forward. That's what I took from this game. I also take from it that, yes, a lot of turnovers, but that Jacksonville Jaguars defense, what's the name of their defensive coordinator? Campanelli, right? Really good. I mean, he has done some good things with this defense. I like the way they're playing. Suddenly, guys who in the past you're like, I thought this guy was going to be really good in the NFL, right? Now with a new scheme, a new era in Jacksonville, the Jacksonville defense looks the part. They have been impressive. They are better than the offense for this team, and they're keeping the Jaguars in every game. Trevor Lawrence is still making bonehead decisions. Like, he ran the ball out of bounds, and the 49ers almost got the ball back to score a touchdown and win the game again because Trevor Lawrence just does stupid things in every game. But the Jacksonville defense is legit. I do believe that at this point. Colts at the Rams. The Rams proved why they're a legitimate contender for the Super Bowl. Why? Because they did exactly what a team that is an elite should do. After a week 3 game where they should have won, lost, blocked field goal at the end at Philly, okay, we move on. But then they answered. A 3-0 Colts team, you can tell the Colts, the way they came into that game, they were confident. They played well at the beginning, but over the course of the game, Matthew Stafford is the better quarterback. Puka Nacua, another fantastic game. He is the truth. Their defense forced Daniel Jones, not shockingly, into multiple turnovers, and they humble the Colts, and they pull away at the end. It was a very good game. The Colts are a good team, by the way. Colts are a very good team. The Colts are an above-average team. I have no doubt about that. Offensive line, defense plays hard. Daniel Jones is comfortable. Top-tier running back. It's a good team. But the Rams are a really good team. And that was a really good answer from week 3. You can't take much from the Bears and the Raiders because that was just two very flawed teams battling it out. And I was impressed by some things I saw from Caleb Williams. He uses his legs to, really keep the offense running. But Vegas showed up playing hard. And again, they just don't convert the field goal at the end. Who knows what would have happened after that? Bears still would have had time to go down the field and score another field goal. But it was just kind of two bad teams facing each other, and that's how it looked. Baltimore at Kansas City. I'm going to say something that probably no one else will, that a lot of people won't like. But in my opinion, and it's a strong opinion because I've lived near Baltimore. I actually lived in Baltimore for 5 years ago, for 5 years. It was about 10 years ago that happened. But I've lived in this area, the Baltimore, D.C. area, for a long time now. The Ravens have a John Harbaugh problem. And it ain't that he's a bad coach, but it's that he no longer does he transform a roster. If things are like kind of dicey or things aren't going perfectly well, like I think he's a good recruiter in the sense like, you're not a recruiter when you're an NFL coach, but he knows how to bring in the right personnel. He knows how to bring in high character guys. They know how to build a roster. But in the game, preparing for a game, now we are seeing it. The Ravens, if they have any kind of weakness, like injuries on defense, their offensive line isn't operating at as high of a level anymore, they capitulate. And it's not a good look. And it's not the sign of a championship team. And I don't think John Harbaugh can bring this team to the next level. I also learned that the Kansas City Chiefs, when they have a deep threat, when Mahomes has a guy that can stretch the field, immediately this is a better offense. Now, I think a lot of it is Baltimore's problems. I don't think Kansas City still has like a great offense, but they're going to be much better and they can figure things out when they can stretch the field. And Mahomes was masterful. There's no doubt about it. Green Bay at Dallas to end this thesis statement segment of my show, the recap show in week 4. Thanks for joining me. Again, the contest show is on Wednesday. I look forward to that. This was the definition of NFL variance, volatility, and absurdity, right? If you take the Packers defense in week 1 and week 2, the Packers defense, what are you saying? Like, was anybody going into week 3 and saying, I don't think the Packers defense is that good? Nah. You weren't saying that. The only thing everybody was saying, which is what we saw, is that the Packers defense, they were at home, but in weeks 1 and 2, they looked phenomenal. In weeks 3 and 4, not so much. Now, in week 3, they looked pretty good. They held the Browns to 0 points for most of that game, but the fourth quarter just completely gave up. The Browns come back. Week 4, Dallas did, Dak Prescott, by the way, better quarterback than you think he is. Dak can get the job done. He was masterful in that game. Under pressure, he was amazing. But and Dallas's offense is not bad, by the way. It's their defense that's the problem. It's still the problem, although they played hard. But this Green Bay defense suddenly is like, is this an average unit? Like, it doesn't look that good. So that's an example of how tough the NFL is early in the season. You have to take in these proclivities of every program, even though it's a really small sample size. So you see it for 1 week, you see it for 2 weeks. Now you're like, oh, I trust it. Is that enough? I do not think it is. Now we have 4 weeks. We see more about these offenses and defenses and the way they operate or don't operate well. Now we get a better idea. Packers are a good defense. Are they a championship defense right now? They are not. And I think that's obvious, maybe especially on the road. All right, let's get to the Monday Night Football preview very quickly here. I don't have too much to say because I did preview this show on the Thursday show, so it'll be a little briefer this time. I'll say this. This is an important game for every team on the Monday night slate, right? You got the Jets and Dolphins both 0-3. The Broncos are 1-2, and the team with the best record is the Bengals somehow, 2-1, who are the biggest underdog. I would not be surprised if the Jets hung around against the Dolphins, because the Dolphins have not shown that ability like they used to pull away from bad teams. And the Jets are not a good team. Now, Justin Fields is back. This is kind of a prove-it game for him, right? He played really poorly in week 2, got injured. Now he's back. This is a Miami defense who looked much better on Thursday night against the Bills, but still have their flaws. Like Justin Fields and the Jets offense has to do something. Would not be surprised if in a teaser leg they covered. So I think it's interesting. I'm not going to make this an official play because I am done with week 4. But from my perspective, it would be interesting to tease the Jets and the Broncos. Tease the Jets up to 8.5. Tease the Broncos down to -1.5. And then maybe also you money line parlay the Broncos and Dolphins to win. Kind of hedges you in the Jets and Dolphins game. But I do expect the Dolphins to win. I do absolutely expect the Broncos to win. That is a plus matchup in every aspect of the game. If the Bengals win, it's just another example of NFL absurdity, because Bo Nix can finally face a defense that's not good. So Bo Nix can finally have his moment at home. And the Bengals offense and Jake Browning has proven he cannot play well against a good pass rush and a good defense. And now they have to face the Denver defense at Denver, one of the best in the NFL. If Denver doesn't win tonight, that would be absolutely shocking to me. But more shocking things, more crazier things have happened, especially in week 4. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for listening to the recap show, to my Monday Night Football preview, to the thesis statements. We will be back on Wednesday for the contest show. There will be many, many more wins coming throughout the season, as they always do for me. Plus 115 units for 3 years in a row, 4 seasons, I should say, is no joke. We know what we're doing here, but this is the NFL in the first quarter of the season, and it is what it is. We shall recover. Until Wednesday, see you all next time. Let's win some damn bets. Let's win some money. Let's fucking go. We'll see you later.